Okay, everybody hear me, I think. I'm not going to take too much time because we have a webinar from Captain Courageous, our fearless leader, in about an hour. So he's going to go over, I think, these ice zones, which should be real helpful. Anyway, if we have any people that doubted the validity of the Marilyn indicator, I hope you got that out of your head today. Told you were going to get a great trade. And it always works. I mean, it's 90, 95, it's probably 95% plus accurate. It doesn't work for just 5-minute little breaks, but it works real well. Especially if the car pulls out of the driveway. That's how you know that you're going to have a nice trade. So this morning we had all this chop, 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 and then about 11:30, suddenly the bus driver got a little change of heart and at least gave a smooth ride. This was tough to take, I'm sure, because Trendcatcher put in a confirmed entry right here at the top of this A, but after the morning's chop just being rejected all over the place, but this would have made a nice thing. And I believe these mountain indicators, they're a little easier to see over here. The deviation indicators that form these mountains. When you get into a trade like this, you want to monitor what you need to have keeping on happening is that this needs to be going on down. So the likely spot, the bus turned around right at this ice level, and then for it to go back down, you needed this mountain to keep on moving in a steady upward motion. And as long as it did that, then you can keep moving your stops and your take profits down to the next likely spot. And this has been an incredibly tough week, I think, to trade crude oil. I also want to make clear, when I'm talking about West Texas, I'm talking about the CL symbol. That is what is traded heavily. It has the most volume, etc. Brent is to crude oil a little bit like the FDAX is to the U.S. indices. It's a leading indicator because it is heavily traded in Europe as opposed to the United States, and it gives you a feel for what the United States markets are likely to do. I'm one of these who likes redundancy. I want to have another feed. I want to have another data feed. I want to have another chart. I want to have a corresponding or correlating market because this is all about probabilities. So you have to have, in my view, the probabilities stacked on your side before you jump in the water. I said I would, I'm going to take about 5 minutes here. The pit closes right now, but the market will continue to trade. And sometimes it trades significantly. One day this week, I think it was Tuesday after the market closed, I'm not sure, when the CME closed, the futures on crude oil at 4 o'clock, or the NYMEX closed at 4 o'clock, closed for half an hour for settlement, and crude oil picked up at 4:30 when that opened and just continued a nice trend. It does happen, it just doesn't happen very often. So I think we have enough new people that maybe are not familiar with marking their charts, and I'll show you a couple of tips because I cannot tell you how helpful this is. Leah has caught on to this probably faster than anybody I've ever seen, and I'm convinced the reason is because she marks her charts every single day without fail, and then she prints them off and keeps them so she can sit down and study them later. So if you're going to do that, the first thing you need to do is go up here to this drawing tool thing, click on that, and where it says snap mode, disable that, because otherwise it decides where it's going to place your drawings instead of you deciding. This E right here, all the tools, this is one of the things that Apex has already done for us with the templates. Every template has this set of handy tools right here in front of you, so you don't have to go looking around for them. When I see these E's that are with the matching MVP, that's what we want, those are valid entries, then I go over here, I click on the circle. Well, it's actually an ellipse, and you have to play with this to draw a little bit. Get one, then you can drag it wherever you want it. You can right click, get copy, left click in your chart, right click to get your menu, go down here to paste, and it will make a duplicate for you. So that's all you have to do to get another one. You can also right click and go to properties. You can change the color. This is how I make the little dots for the add-ons right here. You can make them fatter or skinnier. And this is a really helpful thing for putting magnets on that you're hand drawing and you want them uniformly across your charts, no matter for that instrument, because that's the only thing the magnets are good for. In other words, crude oil magnets are only good for crude oil, and gold is only good for gold, etc. But if you put this attached to, there is a menu, and you can put crude oil all charts. You can put whatever you want to on here. Okay, but mine, I have crude oil all charts, so I only have to draw the magnets on one chart, and that's it. They go automatically. Set your default if you want that to hold. Anytime you change a chart, go to your file in the control panel and hit Save Workspace. That's the mechanism that keeps everything you've got on the chart there when you shut Ninja down. Because when you open it up tomorrow or the next time, half the stuff you drew on there is not going to be on there because it didn't know you wanted it to be saved. When you have an invalid marking, I do that by clicking on this triangle. This takes a little practice. You can make a little triangle and then you can drag it wherever you want it to go. And if you want another one, the same thing, click on it, right click, copy, paste. What I did and what Leah is doing that is really helpful is to set yourself up a little system. Find an icon down here, just pick one, it doesn't matter, and say, okay, on this, I missed this trade, but what I wish I'd done, or the best place, or whatever makes the most sense to me, would be to take this, say 3 ticks from the E, or 2 ticks, or whatever it is that you're trying to learn how to do, and then you have plenty of time, unless the market just turns into a freight train. You have plenty of time. These bars, as you can see, they all retrace on each other slightly. So when you see one, don't jump in there right away. Set the exact place you want to enter and let the bus pick you up. So you click on that and stick your little icon on there, and then you ask yourself, okay, where would I have gotten out if I took this E? And the answer would be right to here, would be the first thing. Well, that's not worth the risk to me to go from 64 or 66 to 56. I don't like those little scalps. Lori does. She loves them, but I don't. So you go down here and say, well, the logical place to get out would be at this deviation. So put your exit on here, and then go to this arrow and draw yourself an arrow. Then take your chart and look at the landscape. When did this occur? It occurred at 1327. What does 1327 look like on this chart? And do it again. And you will start to develop your eye for finding the landscape that works for you. That's how I figured out why I was making mistakes and what would work for me. The other thing you notice here is this RSI has started to make yourself a little, you can make notes, you can put text on here. Go to this T and right here, and you can type in a little note and put it on your chart of what you noticed, I mean after the fact when you stop and study this, would have helped you know to take this. Just make a list. Okay? So hopefully that'll help a little bit. The other thing I wanted to point out to you from this morning is people ask me all the time, and I know you think I'm crazy, which is okay with me. You're probably right. But why do you have these volume things down here with these little red and green? You know, the charts, the bars are red and green. You can tell this is green. The reason I do that is because when you're looking at this A form right here and you're thinking to yourself, is this going to turn into, it's going to go up here and then it's just going to put down what Lori calls the elevator and go back down. When you see one color of this bar sticking up here so much higher than the others, that is a very good indication that this market is going to continue to go up. I'm looking for all the help I can get. I can't depend on just one thing, because one thing to me doesn't work. So I want several things to tell me, and I have noticed that when you get these high volume up-down bars and of this color, and you're trying to assess, do I really want to get in this right here at the top? I mean, Trend Catcher's got the confirmation right here, but gee, I don't know, and this is going, the mountain's going down. Take a look down here and see if you see a big tall bar that would tell you that the probability is that market is going to continue to go up. The bus driver's, he's northbound. Okay, so those are just a few little things, and watch for your exits with these range channels because they are incredibly valuable. And I don't know about other markets, but in trading crude oil, they are very valuable. And what do we have here? We have a magnet. Gee, isn't that surprising? So, and if you notice this ice line, do you know what this is also? It's the, I believe it's the low of yesterday. I see the little beads under there. So anyway, this all begins to make more sense if you can just sit down and study it a little bit without the stress of, oh golly, I don't know, I want to push a button and I think I should get in, and we all go through that. When you see these kinds of things on your 30-minute chart, that's a sign of indecision. And what may come after indecision is a directional trade. And this just took off about 12:30 and went up. Okay, so I hope that helps. Anything else anybody wants me to talk about, just let me know. Somebody had a question here. Oh yes, Mike, about disable the snap mode. Yes, disable it, because if you don't disable it, you will be trying to put this circle around an arrow or around a letter, and it will not seat. It wants to seat it slightly over, and pretty soon you would like to strangle this thing more than I normally would like to strangle it. So anyway, by all means, let me know if there's anything you want me